Accept your death.
So recently in my community, there was a meeting to set up a new skate park and kind of talk about what that would look like. And I don't usually attend those things, but for people that know me, I was a pretty avid skateboarder back in the day, and my kids skateboard, so I wanted to get out there and be part of my community. And one of my coworkers says, you know, I bet there'll be some hot goth moms out there that you could probably meet. And like, I don't know how my brain is wired, but I'm like, why does that sound like that song that we all used to play on the recorder? You know, like hot goth moms, hot goth moms. And,
What? What song on the recorder?
it was, I think it's called Hot Cross Buns, but like, I remember my kid playing it. I remember playing it in elementary school. Maybe that's a Canadian thing. I don't know. But it was, it's like
What
the
did we learn to play? I definitely had to learn to play, like, we had to do the recorder thing when I was, like, in third grade. But it was like This Land Is Your Land or some other, American propaganda, something or another. I have no idea what you're talking about, but maybe
I hope someone in the
our
comments
Canadian
gets it.
audience.
Yeah, that's a staple up here. That is like the worst instrument ever. I don't really know who thought that was a good idea, but that was an awful year when my son was learning that around the house and just squeaking around. That was terrible. But
Yeah, remember when those are your biggest problems? You have a teenage son now, right?
yeah, tell me about it. Just trying to keep up with where he is with his friends and all that kind of stuff. Simpler
Keep him
times.
out of jail.
Yeah, keep him out of jail. Jeez, teenagers, man.
You gotta make. If you had to talks with him, he's gotta.
Oh yeah.
Do things safely.
Be safe. Be as safe as you can out there in the big world. I remember him being like so scared of teenagers when he was like 9 or 10. I just gotta remind him, like, remember when you were so scared of teenagers, and now look at you. You think little kids would be scared of you if they saw you walking down the street?
Like, no, they take my lunch money every day. What are you talking about?
He gets hits up by the grade 7s for his lunch money every day.
Hey, punk. What are you looking at?
Oh.
Skate or die.
Skate or die.
That was the thing, because we were kind of skater kids, too. Like, I was always between, the metal kids, the Hessian kids, and the, goth and industrial kids, the skater kids. And they used to get screamed at all the time, like passing cars, like kids that just got that you go to school with, that just got their license right, and they just see you walking home from school, skate or die, bitch, as they're driving by.
I think I missed that era. I was like the start of the do a kickflip, just random people, hey, do a kickflip. They see you have a skateboard or whatever. They think they're being clever.
Yeah, skate or die, I think, was residual from the 80s. When that Tony or early Tony Hawk era.
Yes, that was one of the biggest times in skateboarding, if I remember correctly. I was like Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen, and like when it just had that big shift from like just riding it to like actually doing tricks.
When I was a kid, like in elementary school, my friends, like older siblings, there was definitely a lot of Tony Hawk hero worship, like complete with like the haircut and stuff like that. It was like a big thing in that time, like the half shaved head thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I definitely know what you're talking about. Yeah. I definitely know it. It kind of came back a little bit, these
came back in the form of emo kickstand bangs,
Yeah, kind of. I feel like all our conversations always steal back to that somehow. They just curve back to the emo bangs at some point. But where you won't find any emo bangs is in our comments, or maybe you will. I don't know. I don't judge. You do your haircut. Okay, that was.
I have no comment.
Yeah, I don't know if that one would even be on the radar at all. So, anyway, starting off with our comments here with Snorts. Dink and Hater, please, you have to make some time to give Oblivion a shot. It's my favorite game of all time, and in your opinion, better than Skyrim. Love to hear both of your thoughts playing it for the first time. And I have been playing it. I have been on that game. I've probably got like 40 to 50 hours in there by now.
Oh, nice. What did you play? What's your character?
I am a
Like
mage.
what class and stuff?
I'm a high elf. Well, I started as a high elf sorcerer, and then I kind of just went into the mage guild, and I'm kind of doing that timeline here. It really, like, to me feels like easier Dark Souls, if I can like say it that way, because I'm like, there's no like big mobs or anything that I've found so far. Like, I don't think I've fought more than like 3 monsters at a time. I think I'm just on like the medium difficulty, because I ain't trying to like impress anybody. I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah, and I think like combat is definitely not the appeal of Elder Scrolls games. Being, I watch a lot of Soul streamers, and they also play these. So I've been watching a lot of Oblivion, and that's a pretty common thing. Is like the combat's like whatever, but the rest of the game's super cool. You definitely don't play it for the combat, which is kind of like the inverse of Souls stuff.
Yeah, it's more of like a storytelling kind of a game, which I kind of like. And like, I kind of like that there's like, you can have some things with you, like you can summon little skeleton dudes or whatever, because like some of those dungeons are pretty dark, and I get kind of claustrophobic being in there all by myself. So I can summon,
You need some buddies. You need some moral support.
yeah, I need some friends to come with me to light the way.
It's like being too scared to walk into the basement alone. You want your brother to go with you.
I couldn't describe it any better. That's exactly what it's like, just like that. Except my little skeleton buddy is the brother in this situation.
And then they're also the cannon fodder.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone's going down, it's you, and then I'm running. So, but I've been having.
So you're liking it?
Yeah, it definitely feels dated. But I mean, when I look at like, I was looking up some tutorial videos, and every once in a while I'll run into like, because people are making content on it like crazy right now. But I'll run into the odd video from like the original, like 18 years ago or something. I'm like, okay, this is definitely a huge upgrade from what that was. But it still feels dated, and like, I don't know. It's a lot of fun though. I like the story. I'm enjoying exploring. Pretty big world, and yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. I don't know if I would really put it on one of the top games that I've played, but it's a lot of fun. I think I probably missed the era where it might have been up in the upper echelon.
I think it hits. I think it hits harder if you played the original, because you have the reference point, and then because games are different now, and the way you do stories and RPGs and stuff, like it does kind of show its age a little bit, like in that regard. But if you have that nostalgia, like some of these streamers I've been watching, like this is like a game, like one of their first binge games when they were like teenagers and stuff.
Right.
They were like much younger, and now they're pushing 30 or whatever, and like they're super happy with it, right? Like there's so much cool energy in those streams. One streamer I watched, Puppery, and she's just like glowing the whole time, just like so ecstatic about it. Doesn't even care. It's like got some issues on PC with some lag, some optimization issues. It seems she's like, I don't even care. So anyway,
yeah, I've run into a couple like glitchy spots where like one quest I couldn't complete, like I couldn't go through a doorway. I had to like reload the game and try it again. Certain people just like not activating dialogue. But I mean, I think from what I understand, that's most Elder Scrolls games. I remember things like that in Skyrim as well. So
they deliberately left some stuff like that in. I don't know about bugs like that, but some like kind of things that have been memes for a while but ended up becoming like part of its charm, like the NPC that's the voice actually breaks characters, say let me try that again, and then repeats the line and they didn't edit it. So that's like in the remaster.
That's good that they can have a sense of humor about those types of things. They like understand what the community is latched onto, those types of things. I definitely appreciate that when it comes to game devs. So but yeah, I have been enjoying that. I will update you if anything like that changes, but I'm hoping to complete a playthrough, and then I'll give a review at one point in time. So thanks for the comment. Appreciate you. Moving on here, Shin Fits. I grant you the gift of existence is a quote from Shinnok to Quan Chi from MK4 ending. Congrats again on 1 year. So thank you for that. I have very little memory of MK4, and outside of like that like try again screen where your character's falling down the well. I was talking about this yesterday in the Discord, I think, or no, it was in my stream chat. That the MK4 Quan Chi outfit is probably my least favorite Quan Chi outfit ever. I just think it's so ugly. Like
Which one?
the MK4 like pajama suit one that he has.
Oh yeah, it's jammies.
It's so ugly. It is just such an ugly. They gave it a bit of an uplift in MKX, but even then, I never used it. I just thought it was. I think, and part of it's like my own bias because like I think the Deadly Alliance era is his best look with like the amulet kind of sash thing going on. I think it's simple. It's good. And then I like his MKX one with the spikes going up near his head. Which, I mean,
I like his MK1 Order of Darkness.
that one's a sick one too. MK1 has a lot of good skins for him as well, outside of the parade skin. That
the bird costume.
Yeah, whoever thought of that? I don't know what's going on with you, but that was a swing and a miss from me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder, like, you see people use it, but it's because they have it just randomizing everything, so it's just picking up in the crossfire. They're like, "Fuck yeah, this one looks sick."
You got to be of a different headspace to look at that costume and be like, hell yeah, that's the one I'm using over all the other ones.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not kind to some of the skins in this game, but I see people using them. So I think they do it for certain people.
Different strokes, as we like to say, right?
Yeah.
One thing I always thought was funny was that I remember when I saw like Quan Chi's MKX like outfit, and I was like, oh, okay, like that seems kind of dangerous to have those spikes near your head, and I'm like, oh, well, that would protect him from someone trying to attack his neck or something like that. That would make sense.
Like a dinosaur, He's like a dinosaur with scales around his neck for protect himself from predators.
Yeah, but then he ends up getting his head lobbed off at the end of the story anyways by Scorpion. So like that didn't even serve its purpose.
Nope. Because he was thinking he was too narrow-minded, so nothing was going to bite his head off, but nothing was going to, stop a samurai sword from going through his neck.
Who could have seen that coming? My goodness. And then we got into
I like that scene a lot. That was one of the highlights of the MKX story for me, that whole sequence. And Lee May's there too. She has that's where her lines are. That all kind of leads up to that. Scorpion comes storming in.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was, as much as, I don't like seeing my character being decapitated. I mean, as far as the storyline goes, that was good writing. It was good vengeance for Scorpion after all. All the things that Quan Chi put him through. Finally got to...
Yeah, it was good resolution to that arc. It was easy to root for Scorpion, and it felt like good payoff. Didn't feel it wasn't too elaborate, but they didn't just phone it in,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I really didn't think that they needed to have a quick time event where you're stomping on his balls, but I mean, they did my boy dirty in that game,
And take out some aggression.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. I'll never forgive whoever came up with that one. It's bad. No, it's just.
I wonder if I wonder how they feel. Is Quan Chi a joke to the devs and stuff? They take it seriously enough, give him good design and stuff like that. But do you think he's kind of like a joke, kind of a meme, like his character? They make fun of him and stuff.
They meme him just sucking all the color out of his skin randomly.
Yeah, and and been like, oh, wouldn't this be funny if we turn this into a quick time event where you just get a step on his balls?
I refuse to do that
because Quan Chi.
I just sat there and just watched her leg raised, and I was like, nope, I ain't doing that. Screw that shit.
What's the point of a quick time event if it doesn't even change the outcome other than oh, you dodged it versus oh, you didn't, and then the exact same thing happens anyway.
Yeah, they did that with Baraka in MK1 with the door that you have to smash open. I thought that was clever. It took me a minute to figure out what the heck was going on because I died 3 times. There's 3 different test your mights that you have to do, and if you don't, you die.
The thing that fucks you up is that the test your might, it's telling you to press the buttons it's in test your might, and that thing flashes, but my brain was registering the flash as okay, that's the time to hit,
right.
Sort of thing, but which was below the bar, and then I die, and I'm not proud to say it took me more than 2 and less than 4 attempts the first time I went through that to get it. I was a little slow on the uptake there.
Yeah, I think I passed it without even really realizing what I was supposed to do. Like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that again because I'm not really sure how I got past it. I was just mashing the whole time. But yeah, I feel like they could have been more clear in their instructions on that one. But, oh well. Probably will never play that again, so. Anyways, rambling. Moving on here. Grizz Moses. As a Katana main, I was disappointed when FaceL started heavily playing top tiers and been rooting for Retro ever since. Watch every YouTube vid and occasionally I catch a stream. Good luck in Pro Comp. Solid episode, gentlemen, as usual. So, yeah, I will never really fault somebody for playing top tier, but I totally get as a viewer why you would want to stop watching them. I've had people who commented on that on some of my Sector videos, you know, saying like, hey, why you're the Quan guy? Why are you playing Sector? And it's like, well, if you're going to compete, you might as well play something viable. Now, I don't really think this is that thing because I think Katana's just fine as far as competing goes, but you know, it is what it is. Don't like to hate on that. But speaking about the Pro Comp, we've had a lot of Pro Comp action in the last couple weeks. And especially this last weekend, which was a long one, the Pro Comp. Brazil Gamescom, I think it was called, Latin America. And like every name in South America was there, plus, of course, some of the Americans went down. With some pretty crazy results. I will
Some
say...
EU as well?
Yes, yeah, EU as well. I think Javier was there. That event was so stacked. Now that like I'm thinking about it, and like, that's just crazy. Like, I was watching pools, and like, the highlight for me for pools, I don't know if you saw this, but there was that Baraka player, and just playing out of his mind. Like, the whiff punishing, the spacing, the knowledge, just like made Baraka look really interesting. And like I never really thought Baraka was a bad character by any means. Like I thought he was kind of somewhere in the middle, maybe that kind of thing, maybe mid-low, but like not bad. And yeah, actually ended up taking out Sonic Fox 3-0 in pools.
Yeah, Baraka Tremor. I watched a little bit of Tweety's restream on day 2, and he said a couple times, because you know he's you know, in a perfect world, he would be maining Baraka. That's who he wants to play, but he's one of the, you know, Baraka's mid. He's definitely has some issues and stuff, but he spent a lot of time talking you know, yesterday. He's like, hey, I'm willing to admit I was wrong about Baraka, but y'all need to be willing to admit that you're wrong about like T1000 and Cyrax because you didn't really see that down there. And when you did see it, they had really good answers to it. Just goes to show it's just so easy to get stuck in your regional echo chamber, and like a narrative persists, and there gets to a point where people stop looking for answers, like non-obvious answers. But yeah, they didn't seem to have much problem with that at all. And a lot of those players, Sonic, said they absolutely were not ready. Didn't have any answers for Baraka Tremor. Just kind of lost.
The absolute answer to Cyrax Serena, like just teching every command grab, just being like just understanding the setups, like that Baraka player had really, really practiced that matchup, like just knew it in and out. And it was like, and then we saw that later on too in the losers match, which Sonic actually missed top 8 for the first time in 11 years. Isn't that since Injustice Gods Among Us, Sonic Fox missed a top 8 in an offline event? That's actually crazy. Like that's actually next level. So I mean, whether this is shifting of the guard or just like, you know, just South America's that good. Maybe they just can't afford to travel outside of their region, whatever it is. I mean, they showed that they are an absolute workhorse in this game, and they are to be feared. You know, top player got YTEX, I believe, with Sector finally winning a major. Everyone was talking about how good this character is, but like, I never really saw her outside of like side picks. You know, specifically against just to like zone some people out or for the armor combos that Motaro gives her. I never really saw someone play her so completely. Like the matchup knowledge, the staggers, the using every single tool, even the standing 2 in neutral was like, man, I was so impressed.
It was a masterclass of that forward 4 button, like just used and hit confirmed, like all the right situations, all the right spacings, knew exactly how he's going to convert after, because, you know, sometimes you get big bounce, sometimes you get little bounce. with her, like when teleports and stuff are involved. It was cool. And, Motaro was that's the earliest team I remember. Like when the DLC came out, she wasn't the first character I touched. By the time I got around to her, like on day 2, that's who everyone was talking about on day 1. What was Motaro, and it's still going strong. You can see how strong it is. That's absolutely insane. Because all that's hit confirmable, all the teleporting stuff with Motaro, and if you block it, then do the far teleport, and if you see that it hit, then you do the close teleport and take your combo.
Yeah, it's super good, super versatile. One of the better, probably like the most offensive options in the game with like all the things that she can do. Because even if she goes for like a flamethrower and like whiffs it, like you back up, you still got Motaro to pull you away because it just goes so far out in front of her that you can't even approach her to try and punish it or interrupt the teleport. Maybe like a Quan Chi standing 4, but that would be like about it.
Right.
I'm not sure I would like to play that matchup TBH, but either way, it was just so cool to see that, and I'm glad that character finally won a major because I've thought that character was good for a long time and just needed the right person to kind of focus in and really commit to it. And we saw that. So I'm super happy. Hope to see them in the finals. See if they can keep that going up. But yeah,
you say that, but a couple weeks ago when we were doing that tier list, you're downplaying her a little bit, right? Remember how much I had to convince you to move her higher than you put her?
I do remember.
You remember?
Yeah. I didn't say she was top tier. I just said I always thought she was good.
No, you said she was down there with Lee May. Couldn't make anything work.
Couldn't make anything work. Yeah, though. Okay, that sounded familiar now that you're bringing my old brain back to it.
Right? No. I jest, but you've been playing Lee May a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did an experiment with her last week, playing her and Shujinko, and I tell you that pairing hits like a truck off of literally anything, because doing like the crumple and then the lantern, like off of that, just the scaling on that alone is crazy. So yeah, you do like a 1-2 crumple lantern jumping 1-4-1-3-4 cartwheel kick. It's
1-3-4
42 420 damage, like just for that. The caveat to that is Shujinko doesn't give you anything to help open the character up. Like, she has plus frames and you're kind of just trying to bait them into getting hit, and her mid isn't super duper hit confirmable, so like you can off like the conquest kick sometimes, but I mean it's not the easiest thing in the world. So I don't know, and you have to play so much neutral in a game where there's so many characters and cameos that just completely skirt that, and it's yeah. I think that Lee May as a character she really needs like certain cameos. I'm not a Lee May expert by any means, but like now that I know a little bit more about her tool set and her plus frames and the gaps that she has and all that kind of stuff, she needs a cameo that can help her kind of combo or open up off of like some kind of scattered hits, like maybe punishing with the flying kick or her overhead or something like that. Movado or Scorpion shenanigans,
Yeah, Movado, I've seen. There's Rips has a couple VODs. It's up on the YouTube with Lee May on the thumbnail. If anyone feels so compelled to see Lee May Movado just steamroll some people, it looks super cool. I love any combo that gets a lamp in it, a lamp or two. I think looks super swag, and he lets her, like he does, right? He can let her combo off anything, including her armor, all sorts of shit where she can just cancel into the lamp, and before they drop on the ground, Movado bounces them back up into the lamp, and then she just keeps going. Looks really cool. Looks really, really fluid. I messed around with her a little bit too, but I was like, I don't know why I would play this character over Melina.
Yeah, and like that's what I was wondering too, like, which is kind of like reinforced what I kind of thought about Lee May, was that like, why would you play like Lee May Movado when like Havoc Movado exists, right? Like, unless you're like a diehard Lee May character, I feel like the cameos that help her out, other characters do that but better. That makes sense?
Yeah, but I think the first step for most people, I think the first step in character choice is it's got to be somebody that you vibe with, right? Like, if I wanted to play Lee May, but Havoc exists, but Havoc's there spilling his guts, and he's like everywhere because he's super meta, because he's super strong and stuff, and that kind of like, so everybody knows the matchup, and plus you just don't want to be adding to the, no matter how much even maybe you like Havoc, you don't want to be adding to that population or whatever. So some people like to do stuff like that. You know, you want to play who you want to play. We talk about this, you know, regarding Quan Chi in the Discord all the time. It always comes up because, you know, we've got some devout Quan Chi people, and he's kind of like bad. And, you know, the last piece of advice you want to give somebody like that is like, you know, I said tongue in cheek, right? Like the first step to solve that problem is on the character select screen. But
Right.
if that's not an option, then yeah, you got to get creative.
Yeah, I was seeing Enzo posting saying that like posting a screenshot of him asking for games and people just basically laughing at him like nobody wants to play Quan Chi. Like,
Yeah, the thumbs down and stuff. No one wants to fight against that shit.
yeah, and I mean it's not even more that it's like super powerful. It's just annoying, right? It's just the armor portal shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. People don't like it, and people don't really view him as a threat. So like, why waste your time? As soon as you just learn some basic stuff about the matchup, he's pretty much shut down. So, and I mean, I enjoy playing Quan Chi. I think Quan Chi Shujinko is really fun. It's probably one of my more fun teams that I like. Mind you, I just like Shujinko in general. He just makes the game so much more fun and challenging. Like, just like, it changes, like, especially when I'm doing Combat League runs. Like, every matchup is different. I got to know what my tools are in that matchup. I got to remember how to use them. I got to remember how to combo from them. I don't know. That Kameo is so fun. And, like, when I see people online playing, like, Conan Shujinko or, like, in events and Conan Shujinkydink, and they're just picking him for the crumple and not like using any other thing that the Kameo does, it makes me very sad because there's so much potential there. Maybe I should pick up Conan Shujinkydink and just show everybody how crazy that Kameo can be in that character's hands. Because I've thought about it, and like that might be Shujinkyo's best pairing as far as like the character goes. I used to think it was Sindel, but I don't know. I haven't really seen much Sindel since her nerfs, which I didn't think were that crazy. Even Sonic was saying that they didn't think that Sindel was that strong anymore when they went to kind of counterpick, and then went to T1000, which I thought was interesting. I've never seen them play T1000.
Oh, they changed that one change to the forward one. So the 50 health is like whatever. She's usually running Tremor anyway, which is the extra 100 health. So she's still above like 1,000. You think just the change to the forward one, making that a high instead of a high mid, do you think that's enough for the character to go to like what she was doing to like, I don't know, she's got problems?
I don't honestly think so, but I mean, I haven't played her seriously in quite some time, but like that forward one, like yeah, that was it hurts her for sure, but I don't think she's still doing the craziness that she can do before, especially with the Tremor shenanigans, the floats into mix into whatever. Same with Kung Lao, the float into mix into whatever. She didn't really rely on the forward one for that. It was more for her footsies, a little bit of armor breaking. I don't know if it being a high really made an effect on her armor breaking abilities. I can't really see that it would, but maybe there's something there.
I think it caught a lot of people ducking. Like it was kind of like a why not like sort of move, especially at certain spacings. So I think it just has a little bit more risk now. You know, you just kind of like throw it out and have a special buffered behind it. Like when you're kind of like expecting somebody to kind of like walk into it or try to punish the high too early. The mid catches them, maybe something like that. I have no idea. I'm not a Sindel player either, but you know, and it's not unheard of for just like one change to send, you know, to like really change a character's strength. But I don't think that forward one was the best thing she had, was it?
Yeah, I don't think so either. She still got her, like I said, her float shenanigans. But that being said, I haven't really seen a Sindel in top 8 outside of when Sonic played her for a bit there.
People don't like to lose health. Look how popular Movado got, despite all the damage scaling nerfs he's been getting. As soon as they took away it's only 50 health instead of 100 health, and people hopped off Chameleon when, you know, lost 50 health. Johnny lost 50 health. Peacemaker lost 50 health. I feel like seeing in the patch notes that your character had a health adjustment down by 50, I feel like is like a death sentence in this scene, right? Like that's when you see things just kind of like people do not like that. And I don't like the idea of balancing through health values like in general. I don't know why they insist on doing that. I just wish everybody had 1,000 health.
Yeah, I don't really.
But it does seem to make it it's a
Yeah.
deterrent, you know. Striker. Was Striker always 950? Maybe he would. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. I think that was a change that happened afterwards.
That was one of his early nerfs. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so long ago. The striker days. It's crazy how these all in this game the metas are shifting around the cameos, which I guess is kind of the intention, right? Like you had like day one was Cyrax, and then you moved on to Striker, and then after that was Chameleon, and then that we had Pharah, I think.
We had a Pharah era. There was the Chameleon era. Right now we're in the Tremor area.
Yeah.
Area. The Tremor era. Like this tournament looked like that last one where everyone used Chameleon, because I saw so many like Tremor mirror matches.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he is the cameo right now. I think they have definitely overcorrected from what they were trying to do with this cameo, and especially in the last patch where they made it like a little bit faster for his ambush stuff to come out. Like,
yeah,
plus 100.
He just
health.
doesn't need the health anymore. The first buff that they gave him was that they increased the health, because I don't think on launch he didn't give any health. One of his early buffs, they like really avoided touching those cooldowns. Now that they have, they're seeing like this is probably like what they were afraid of, but I feel like you could just take the health away and just kind of like leave him. I don't feel like he's stronger than some other teams.
No, I agree with you. I think that he definitely doesn't need to give you 100 health anymore. I think that's kind of over the top, especially since he can kind of create these fun to blockable situations for pretty much anybody. So it'll be I don't know if we have more balance patches. Nothing's been announced, so I'm just kind of keeping my eye on like the end of the Combat League season just to see like, okay, we're getting close to when we might see something or might see some sort of an announcement. So right now
Nope.
I'm kind of being cautiously optimistic. I'm not really expecting anything, but I'm kind of hoping something's coming.
Expect nothing and allow yourself to be surprised, right? But do not start anticipating something and allow yourself to be like let down. Like, and if that sounds cynical, then that's like one of those things where I feel like I explained to people, like even if it is cynical, like that's a realistic approach in my mind. And if you think that makes me a cynic, then like so be it. Then you know, I've been called worse, but that's kind of how I approach that sort of stuff because it feels way worse.
Yeah, and I've done it so many times that I'm just like, it just doesn't even faze me anymore. Like I get myself like so excited, like, oh my god, this is gonna be like that, and this is gonna be like that, and it's never like that. And so I'm just like, well, of course it's not, you idiot. Like, why would you even think that in the first place? But I like being excited about things, and I like, you know, looking forward and anticipating things. So that's just kind of how like my mind works. Like I would like another balance patch, especially since Ed Boon did tweet out like what 4 characters you think need a change, and you know, that gives me a little bit of hope.
Yeah. Like I meant to ask you. Let's say that Ed Boon came to you and said, "What 4 characters need the most love?" What would your personal list be for that?
Well, I mean, the first one would be a no-brainer in Quan Chi. I think he needs a little something. Maybe the 1-2-2 string not having a gap. I mean, I'm not really sure that or 1-3 not having a gap would be better. You know, it's funny. Nobody ever upblocks that string. I'm not sure if it's just because it's such a good like mix up between like 1-3 and 1-2-2, but like you upblock it and he's like -22 right in your face, and there's tons of time.
The gap in that string is so big you can dash cancel into a standing 1. Most characters can, or they have buttons to completely avoid the other hit. So to go from that to gapless, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy. But I mean, he needs something crazy, I think. I feel like he's just not that scary. Or if you made the 1-2 and the 1, well, no, that's still not that scary. I was going to say the second hit, like the same frames, but I still think that that's not really that scary. But like, fuck it. Let's make Skydrop plus on block. +4.
Oh my god, come on. It's armor. It's his armor move.
Yeah, but he only has an armor portal on top of his armor move.
This is why they can't come to the community and ask these sorts of things. You start asking for shit like that, and then they're, they're like,
Yeah.
okay, so who's the other three?
So I would say probably Tanya is the other one, as much as she annoys me. And like, whenever I play her, she's just so underwhelming to play against, unless you have like, similar to Lee May, like 1 or 2 cameos that would like make her kind of scary. That she's just not that. I don't know. I know you played a little bit of Tanya, but I mean,
she's like my version. Tanya is to me like what Lee May is to you, like a character I can and keep going back to, where I get like a fresh idea and I go back. I really am kind of like giving it every opportunity to grab me and show me that I can make it work, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's fun, like in its own little thing, but I don't know why I would play it over some of the other teams that I have.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I'm feeling as well over her. And I've seen some people do some things where, like, you could spend some resources, but like 2 bars and a cameo meter for like 420 damage does not seem like very good.
You definitely don't. Yeah, you don't pick Tanya to be doing damage. That's for sure.
And I think that if they gave her a little bit of a damage buff, that would be nice. They gave her some nice new tools, like kind of with the parry and stuff like that and whatnot. So I think that like giving her too much damage would be kind of harsh, but I mean, I think a little bit of a damage buff would be fine for her,
They really need to like, well, you know what they could do? You're not going to like this answer, especially because of the button I'm talking about. But if they gave her that frame back on forward 2, because I think it was 16 frames, now it's 17, I'm pretty sure. But those gaps, come on now.
Yeah.
But then you're just holding. She's already kind of a forward 2 machine, so that would just make it even like better and be she needs incentive to use like other things. I don't know.
Yeah,
she has some very big, very annoying buttons.
Yeah, she's very rangy, and I think that could be kind of more maybe improved upon. I don't know the character enough to know. I just know that you don't really see her that much, and when I do, like I played one yesterday on stream, and I was playing Quan Chi, and they played one match, and they said, I appreciate you very much, but I don't want to play against a top-tier character with my low-tier Tanya. Good games, have a nice day, and they left. And it's like, if Quan Chi looks top tier to a Tanya player, like, come on now, help this character out, please.
Well, I like the guidance charge. When you have the guidance charge and you can cancel your drill kick for combos and stuff, like that's really fun to me. That's a lot of like the appeal. I really like the flow of that and the ways to set that up and convert into it. And it's decent when you're running around neutral with those charges. You have the increased range on your buttons, and it makes whiffing way more severe, not just because of her standing 3 and all that stuff that you have to deal with like normally, but just raw drill kick whiff punishing you. And she's got the charge, she can cancel into it and get her version of a combo. She at least gets something off of it. The thing is like when they're already airborne and you have that charge, you can kind of like, you can't use it to extend. If you try to use it in the middle of a combo, you kind of end up in the air, so you're kind of like in an air mix-up sort of situation, right? They can up block it, I'm pretty sure, or you can do it empty, and that has like its own risks, just trying to take another turn,
right.
Ending your combo early, using it that way. If they could, I would like for her to be able to do something else in that situation and not be just relegated to the kind of like that drill kick thing. I know they've already added to what guidance can do, what you can do when you have the buff up and stuff. I feel like she needs something that she can do in that situation. Yeah. And I saw other people suggesting, like in MKX, the teleports, because she could just teleport all the time, right? But she'd have to spend the bar to get the combo off of it, but that teleport you normally get with the guidance charges, it's just something that she could always do. That would definitely help her, and I feel like they could rein that in with just like frame data, right? Just be hella like unsafe, if not hit confirmed or whatever, not make it too overpowered.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the MKX days where we got like the Tanya mirrors in top 8, where they're just like teleport back into each other, out of each other.
That was pre-patch Tanya, right? That was like launch Tanya.
That was like the yeah, when the launch Tanya after like I think 2 weeks I think they had was their thing that you couldn't play her for, and then first tournament came out and there was half of top 8 was Tanya's. I remember Rio being one of them, just teleporting around like crazy.
Yeah, I miss MKX Tonya. Even if they reeled her in, and she definitely wasn't as strong, but Naginata was really fun, like bouncing around like the pogo stick thing, which was like a stance. She had all the options and stuff from it. I couldn't even imagine this Tanya doing that. If they gave her like a similar sort of thing, like as an homage to MKX or whatever, I think this version of Tanya would look so silly
I agree.
doing
I
something
agree.
like that. I really like MKX Tanya.
Yeah, her design was cool. Pyromancer was a lot of fun and really good
Yeah.
too. And yeah, Dragon Naughty Naughty and Kobujutsu kind of fell off at the end, but still had like its place, I think.
If you go back and watch Combat Cup, I don't know if that's on Mr. Aquaman's channel or if that's like a separate channel, but if you look at all those old online circuits that Mr. Aquaman was running back in the day, that's probably the most popular variation. I feel like, as I recall, that and Naginata. Pyro every once in a while, but always her variation one
Kobujutsu.
with the yeah.
That was
I'm
the
gonna
most
make you say
broken
it because
one.
I'll just mess it up.
That was the most broken one right off the bat. It was like plus on block, like there were gaps, but like she could armor in her gaps to like cover you trying to poke, and then it was plus on block at the end. Back into more meter build. It was crazy. That's back when Dragon was part of STB, and I remember going to SoCal Regionals and us playing in on my monitor on my setup, and that was just the craziest character, especially for Quan, who defense was bad anyways. But you had to keep her out. But yeah, no, right off the bat, and then they killed that, and then Pyromancer was a thing for a little bit, and then it went to Dragon Naughty Naughty was kind of mixed in a little bit at the end, I think, with the last patch. So, and then Kobujutsu was just kind of a niche variation. But yeah, so that's 2 out of the 4 characters. We went on a little bit of
Oh gosh, yeah, we're still on that. Okay.
So the third one would be Lee May for sure. But the problem is I don't really know what I would do. I don't really know how I would adjust her, because I feel like if you go too strong in one direction, that she's just crazy. Like if you gave her like an overhead, I feel like that she would be too crazy. You know, like maybe speeding up her forward 3 a little bit, question mark, but I don't really know. That still would give her the same problem as being like kind of meshed in with 2 cameos. She just doesn't like stand out as a character. She has plus frames and that's about it. She doesn't really do anything special, you know?
I feel like if they asked me, I would been like, I feel like the fun factor for me is some sort of endorphin rush or like lamp combos. I just think that they're super fun, right? Give me more access, easier access to hitting the lamp when I hit confirm off something, whether I can do something like Quan Ken with Big Chompy and change the speed of it a little bit for different like sorts of setups, or one where you spend a bar and it like is like a little sine wave that you actually have to duck under. It'll hit you in the face. It doesn't just like control the air. Different interactions you can have with it. You know, you can blow it up with the projectile, but maybe there's something else that could happen. I feel like they could work with something there to kind of fill in some missing things. Maybe, I don't know. That's just me.
That would make sense. Like make her lamp her thing, you know, like you said, different speeds for Big Chompy. Maybe she has one where it kind of like moves forward and backwards slowly across the screen to give her like a little bit more time, where it's like, hey, you better not jump because you're in full combo. Then she completely cuts off the air, right?
Right, or like what Geras does with his sandstorms and stuff. If he spends the bar, you're kind of like locked into place. Otherwise, you're going to get like popped or something. Like the lamp travels half speed and then it pauses for a second and then it just pew, you know, blows up downwards or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like that could be super cool. But yeah, just give her something that she can play differently. You know, that's like her thing. She's not just plus frames into good mids, I guess.
Dude, look at what they just did for like Sub-Zero with like the triple clone and all the extra combos and setups he can get now. I love seeing Sub-Zero like use that bar. If I see the 3 clones come out, because it's cool. A lot of them will use the first 2 to combo and then the last one for setup, and I think that's cool. And it would be cool to give her, something along those lines. Like I said, just easier access to lamps, whether that's like 2-in-1 canceling, you end your combo with the chain reaction. And if you spend the bar or do something, then, she kind of just 2-in-1 cancels into a lamp.
Yeah. Yeah, that could definitely be her thing. I like that change. I think I would probably fight for something around that too, because the lamp is like the only thing that kind of makes her a little bit different than, I guess her other thing is she can like full combo punish, -7, I think it is, or -8 with her.
She's not the only one that can do that anymore though. So
yeah,
that was something that was pretty unique to her.
But even then you need certain cameos to like capitalize off of that. So it's like, yeah, I don't think that's that crazy. And then I'm not really sure who I would use as the fourth character. I feel like the game is in a pretty good place right now. When I'm thinking about.
So who haven't they given at least something, not just like a frame data adjustment or animation change or whatever, but who's left that hasn't gotten like a new move or an enhancement to their existing move, like the way that smoke can cancel from the air smoke port now. So I'd say they at least did something for smoke. Ashra can, when she spends the bar, she can switch stances if she holds the stance switch button. So they at least gave her, something. Who hasn't gotten anything?
I think to some extent all the characters have got a little bit of something over the last year and a bit. When I think of who's got probably the least, I would say maybe Scorpion, maybe Johnny Cage, Kung Lao. Like that might be another one, Kung Lao, because like his whole thing was that he had safe armor, and then they just took it away from him. And then now what does he do? He's still good, but like he's in the same kind of camp as Lee May, I feel like, where it's like,
right, how do you make him unique?
Yeah, he's not really unique. He's got his dive kicks that kind of skirt neutral a little bit, and a fairly decent overhead that can combo into cameos. He might be the fourth one for me, just because, like, again, I don't think that any character in this game is like unviable. Like you've seen Kale use Kung Lao in tournaments and win before, so I don't think he's necessarily bad. I just think that he needs something to make him more interesting, if that makes sense.
All right. So would you say Kung Lao over Shang Tsung?
Yeah, I honestly think that Shang is probably fine. Like, I don't know. He's definitely on the lower end of things because he takes a lot more effort. But I don't know. I think he's made to be a morphing character, and he can do 40% into steal your character, and then restand plus 40, and then he's playing whatever game the other character's playing. He's a mirror match at best. So I don't know how you would change his base kit anymore to make him more scary. He's supposed to be the morphing character. You're supposed to be using that stuff. He has it. Just use it. Get a damage boost in a mirror match. That's pretty much just automatically making it 6-4 whenever you want.
You keep saying morphin with without the G, like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you're having me thinking.
Maybe that's like burned into my head. Mighty Morphin Power.
He's morphin'. It's morphin' time.
It's Morbin time. Yeah. And I think.
Okay, so that's a good list. That's a good 4, I think.
I think most people would kind of agree with that. People have their own biases and what's not of what they would change. So
I think Omni-Man maybe might belong in the list. He's definitely in proximity. They gave him that little extra bounce with his overhead. I think he probably needs a little bit more. He definitely seems to be the weakest DLC character of all the DLCs. I don't know. What do you think? Well, let's say guest DLCs.
I was gonna say Quan Chi's lower than him, but
yeah.
I would agree though. Of guest DLCs, probably Omni-Man is the bottom of the barrel there. So, but we'll see. If anything, I'd like to see some cameos kind of adjusted. I would like to see, as always, my hatred for Movado. I felt like the Pro Comp event was all Movado and Tremor this time, which Tremor I get. Movado, I don't know. I don't like the design of that cameo. It's so lazy. I
There needs to be more risk, right? They need to put his health back to like where it was, and that needs to be like way more of a consideration. Otherwise, it's just too easy of a pick. He gives you like way too much. There needs to be more risk.
Yeah.
So they need to go back to their first instincts.
I agree.
In my opinion.
No, I agree. Just go back. Takes 100 health away. If you want some brain dead conversions, you're gonna have to play with less health. So, sorry, not sorry. It was hype to see Nicholas win a game with the push block, though. I will say I have never seen that move used in the tournament. I saw that and I was like, yo, all right, I forgot he even had that. So, I don't know. Maybe put more of an emphasis on that, less on the conversions. I don't know. And then Tremor revert the health. Other than that, I think he's whatever. It's fine.
Okay, so who else? Who do you think needs love? So let's say Ed Boon asked for 4 characters. Let's say that he also asked for 2 cameos. Who's going on your list?
I mean, I feel like it's just the ones that you don't really see very often anymore. Like, it's tough to say, like, buff Kano, because what Kano does is really, really strong, but now there's other cameos that do that, but better. So, I mean, maybe give him something else that makes him stand out a bit. Kind of like what they did with Sonya. I don't know.
I think they need to make some of their cameo mechanics a little bit more universal, at least the broad strokes of them. So, like, push block, I think needs to, like, maybe not every cameo, maybe not a universal thing, but more cameos. You can kind of put them in we know how NRS loves to categorize, right? Like your strength superheroes and your gadget superheroes, the way they interact with whatever. But so let's just say that they, because I was watching the Pro Comp, right? And you see people playing Jax and just totally calling out cameos with the gotcha grab. And then that's another thing, like the push block. That's such a cool way to shut somebody down, like to keep them from just mindlessly bringing out their ambush. And it's such a shame that only Jax can do it. I think it would be if they would extend that to some other characters. Like, imagine Darius coming out with just like instead of like a gotcha grab, it's like he just is like a full shoulder tackle, right? And just you come out, like Serena comes out for her curse and Darius comes out and just shoulders her in the chest and runs her off screen or something. That would be sick. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that would be cool. I think Darius would probably be another one that makes my list. He does so much, but I feel like they need to make him a little bit more streamlined or something. Like he's just way too intimidating to like look at. You know, like you open his moves list and it's like this goes into this,
so
this
dumb.
goes into this, like this goes into
It is
this.
so dumb. It kind of needs to be consolidated, maybe reworked a little bit, because it might be one of the most ridiculous move lists in the game.
I agree. Yeah, I hard agree with that. He does some cool things, and like I get it, but it felt it's just too obnoxious to try and learn that unless you're gonna like actually master that cameo, and then maybe. And like, don't get me wrong, he does some cool things, and his cooldowns aren't terrible. But I mean, yeah, that whole how he control him is just makes no sense to me, and why they would do it the way that they did it. So I think that if they could somehow keep all the cool things that he does, but streamline a little better, make it a little bit more user-friendly, I think that would be the way to go. I don't think he needs like buffs or nerfs either way. They just need to make him easier to use, I think. I don't know how he would go about doing that, but I mean, I think that's probably the number one thing that keeps people away from Darius, because like, he has armor, he has meter stealing, he has fun-to-blockables, he has a wake-up attack, like, you know.
He has full combo starting fun-to-blockables.
Yeah, which is crazy. So, I mean, he's not a bad cameo, but it's like you got to commit your whole life to that cameo. I had to play it for like a week.
He also
straight.
gives you 50 health.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I bet Sindel Darius would be a pretty fun team. Be a fun team to learn. To get some knockdown into fun-to-blockable shenanigans similar to Tremor, but, you know, you get overhead and low with Darius, so I don't know. I feel like one thing that you could maybe change about him to make it easier is like you commit to the overhead or low as you call them out, because it's kind of hard to do your own input and also hold down on the cameo meter to get like the low. So I think if
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think if you could like pull put them out and like you're committing to the low, but like there's no like maybe a slight visual so that the opponent like has an idea, but that you're not pressing like down at the same time you're trying to like jump or something. Maybe it's a balance thing. I don't know, but I feel like that could be. Press down and left trigger would be the low. If we press down and left bumper, that could be the overhead or something like that,
I don't like it when I feel like I'm trying to mash ambush cameo things like in between my normal inputs. That messes me up more than anything. Like if you don't have a good flow for your ambushes, you feel like it's got like a timing that's too precise, like, and it might be so precise that the input reader actually doesn't register it because it's too close to another button hit or something like that. These little like dead zones you end up in sometimes. That's a big part of when I'm deciding on a team to play. Like I can't deal with stuff like that. Holding the cameo button, like so no like Gento or anything like that. That really hurts my hand.
Yeah, I can do that to an extent because you kind of have to with Shujinko, but most of the time it's like tapping a button just to get him on screen to charge, and then maybe tapping him again to get him to go away so you can use him.
Yeah.
That took me a while to like get used to, but I was saying that in my video yesterday with Cyrax, is like the amount of times that like I just instinctively tapped the cameo button to like charge Shujinko and I just end up wasting half a Cyrax bar.
On your little vertical copter chopper.
Yeah, because I was just trying to charge Shujinko and kind of forgot what and then there goes Cyrax just up into the air. There's half my cameo meter gone. I'm like, good old muscle memory.
Who's the of your little Quan cameo adventure so far? Who do you think is the standout cameo? That's not obvious. Like you knew that Sonya was going to be good going in. You've played it before. Same with Serena.
Yeah. So far, the only one that really, it's hard to say, like, the standout so far was Sub-Zero, but again, I knew Sub-Zero was good, so, like, I wasn't really too surprised by that. I'd say, I don't know, I've definitely had some shitters, though, as far as being like, this isn't that good, like, Cyrax, like, in the video I did the other day, it was, on paper seems pretty good, but, like, doesn't do the things that Quan Chi needs his cameo to do, like fill his game plan kind of idea.
Which is what? What does Cyrax lack?
Like the combo damage just really isn't there. The meter stealing is nice. I'd say that's probably the top thing. And maybe some of the bomb setups, but like it doesn't enhance his zoning really. Doesn't give him any health. That's a huge one. That's like, if you don't give Quan any health, you're mid-tier at best for cameo for Quan. That's kind of where the bar starts for the next level is giving him health and then giving him combo damage and then like covering any gaps and stuff that he has. I remember you doing a video about some similar kind of idea with Melina, where like if the cameo doesn't cover like these three things for her, then it's no good. It's just
right, where you kind of have the pros and cons. Like these are my strengths, things I can do by myself, and these are the things that I might need some assistance to do. So the cameo should be trying to raise that from. Now my game plan here went from mid to actually, I can actually be threatening or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing with Quan. Like I remember you saying like Melina doesn't really need a cameo for damage. Like if it gives it to her, great, but like that's not a requirement for her. Whereas Quan, that's a big requirement for him. He needs that extra damage because he's hitting for 279 for a regular B&B. So like you can get him to 400, that's huge. So I think I've reached just over the halfway point with the cameos now. It's been a fun ride. Kind of infuriating at times when I realize like that the ideas I had for these cameos aren't really working the way that I was.
That is always kind of a bummer. Like when you go from brainstorm stage to practice mode for the first time, you're like, yeah, this doesn't work at all.
Yeah, that was kind of like my Lee May experience too. Like I was just learning and practicing the combos and the towers, and then as soon as I fought a real human opponent who just knew where the block button was, I was like, okay, this kind of sucks. But we'll see. I'm doing Chameleon next, so I know that there's some stuff.
Oh.
I know there's some stuff with her. That'll be tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, this is a fun experiment. I've been learning a lot and kind of a lot of counterplay as well about different cameos and characters. I fought Scars Unseen yesterday with Cyrax, and she would do a teleport, like the most unsafe teleport, and then but she would activate like the copper chopper forward before she did the teleport. So when I went to go punish it, Cyrax would come from behind and hit me.
Right.
That was some pretty tricky tech. I like that.
I like stuff. Well, I like to cover teleports, like gap closers like that. That ambushes can help kind of enforce that or catching people. But that's so frustrating to fight against. I'll never forget fighting against Carl's Lee May Striker, and it was, back forward 4 into grenades, and I just couldn't stop the compulsion to like want to punish it and just get opened up every time. So frustrating. I'm really bad about that. I'm just like an old dog. New tricks are hard, and once I finally have my brain wired a certain way, it's like, oh, I can actually punish it consistently. Oh, wait, now I have to stop myself from doing that. That really messes with my brain.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that in MK1, and we're moving a little bit away from that meta now. I think it's more like the mix meta, but it was a lot of like for months it was a lot of unsafe things into Kameo to keep you safe. Kano knives, Striker, Chameleon. Well, now not so much Chameleon, I guess, but same kind of idea. So, but we'll see what happens if there's any shakeups down the road or anything like that. I think we covered all our topics today, so I think that's going to be it. If you have 4 characters or 2 cameos you want to comment about, let us know, and we'll give our thoughts on it next week. But yeah, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.